Good morning, everyone, and many thanks for the invitation to speak at this live info day. My name is Anette Persson from DG ENER, working with energy efficiency in buildings. So I'm really happy to be here to give you a background to Renovation Wave so that you can prepare your proposals, and more information will also follow during the session. So why do we need a renovation wave in Europe? Well, it's relatively easy. A lot of buildings in Europe are inefficient when it comes to energy, and they are also to a very large extent relying on fossil fuels. And the majority of the buildings that we have today will still be there in 2050. So in order to reach climate neutrality in 2050 and also for the 55% emission reduction in 2030, we really need to address the existing building stock. And this is why this was proposed by the Commission in October last year to double the renovation rate in Europe and to ensure that European buildings are becoming more energy and resource efficient. But it's not only about energy and resource efficiency, it's also about affordability, about health aspects, and also about making our public buildings like schools and social infrastructure efficient and a flagship for how buildings can look like. And with the Renovation Wave communication, there's also a package with the financing options and possibilities. And most of us have been spending a lot of time in our homes for the last 1.5 years. So of course, buildings are becoming even more important for our daily lives, but there's also the economic side of it and the need for stimulating the economic activity in the construction sector, which is really important. And there are a lot of SMEs in the construction sector. So this is also where the Renovation Wave can help. So together with the Renovation Wave, there was a communication also with financing possibilities. And there's a whole series of financing availabilities. It's direct investments with the recovery plans, which have now been submitted by the member states. It's also the idea to leverage private investments through the Invest EU program, research and innovation from Horizon Europe, and also where we are now talking about LIFE and the clean energy transition is a very important part of the Renovation Wave to address the market barriers. And there's also the very important technical assistance and advisory facilities like ENER. And in addition to financing, there's also the regulations and legislation which is needed to implement the Renovation Wave. And this comes as a package with the first part of the Fit for 55 package, which is going to be presented in July this year with the Energy Efficiency Directive, the RED III, the Emission Trading Scheme, and other regulations. And then there will be sort of the second part, which will be for the end of the year with the EPBD revision, for instance. And I will not go into so much details, but just to show you that building energy efficiency is being addressed in many legislations and regulations. And I would like to give you a little bit more information on the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive revision. And this is really a key instrument to deliver the Renovation Wave, to aim at least doubling the energy renovation rate, also to make deeper energy renovations, and as a whole, to deliver renovation of 35 million building units by 2030. So there will be a proposal to introduce mandatory minimum energy performance standards, but also a strengthening of the existing provisions on energy performance certificates to improve the quality, also to look at the digitalization aspects and the availability of databases. And there will also be proposals related to deep renovation. What is a deep renovation? How should it be defined? How can it be used for financing purposes? And also to work on additional information tools like building renovation passports, where you can also, for an individual building, look at the entire renovation cycle for this building and also look at the possibility of staged renovation. And the work on the revision is ongoing, and there has been a stakeholder consultation, which is a really important part of the review. And the open public consultation has ended, and there has also been 5 separate workshops with a very large interest from stakeholders and many participants. And to give even a little bit more of details, in addition to what I just mentioned, it's also about enable the decarbonization of buildings. And here we will look at the long-term vision for new construction, because we had the nearly zero energy buildings, but and that is now being implemented across Europe. But we also need to look further, to look into 2050. What does new construction have to look like to enable the decarbonization goals? And we will also look into the modernization of buildings and how buildings can become an active part in the energy system with demand-side flexibility, integration of renewable energy, storage, and also e-mobility provisions. And this is also why we will include the smart readiness indicator and electromobility provisions in the revision, with a possible strengthening of the electromobility provisions. And for the smart readiness indicator, at the same time as the renovation wave was adopted in October last year, there were also the adoption of 2 regulations for the smart readiness indicator, one which is more for the calculation and one which is more for the implementing steps. So now it is there to be tested and implemented in member states. And the European Commission has a support contract which member states can make use of for the implementation. And there will be a whole set of different support activities like web resources, online help desk, a training package, webinars, and an assessment package. And these will be made available throughout the year at different times. And also, before I finish, I would like to give you a brief update on product policy related to buildings. And this is mainly eco-design and labeling regulation. So there is ongoing or planned reviews of all the existing regulation, and this is due to the technological progress and also rescaling. So for instance, work is well advanced on central space heaters, water heaters, and air conditioners, and there has been a preparatory study on building automation and control systems, even no decision is taken on the exact way forward yet. But this is also interesting that in the council conclusions on the 11th of June, which was on the renovation wave as a whole, but also called on the Commission to really accelerate the work on product regulations for the heating and cooling appliances. So this was all from my side. With this, I wish you a very successful information day, and I'm looking forward to taking part of your project proposals. Thank you very much.